So it's myself, Tom, and Suzanne who are doing most of the talking. Hopefully you know all three of us, but if not, just as by way of introduction, I'm Stephen Darby. I'm Vice Chair and Director of Events and Awards, so that's why I'm here and answering hopefully all the questions correctly. But Tom and Suzanne are very much there to make sure that that is the case. Tom is a host of most of our events, who I'm sure you've met, and Suzanne runs all the marketing for Aura, who again I'm sure you've met at various events, etc. So I'm going to move on to slide 2. Tom, can you move me on to
I will.
Cheers.
There we go.
Lovely, thank you very much. So the important bits, so we start with the easier or the more obvious bits, but the ways to enter and put your nominations in are through sharing an email, a nomination form with your supporting material to awards@aura.org.uk. So I'll show you where all the documents are, etc. But that's pretty much the easiest way is to email across your submissions. Or you can use the type form on the website. So there's 3 separate ones, and we're going to go through all 3 categories as well. So there's the People Awards, the Agency Awards, and the Work Awards, which Tom and Suzanne and I are going to walk you through today as well. And again, they're on the website. What I'll do is I'll demo the website right at the end rather than jumping in and out of the slides and show you where it all is, but it's all on the Aura Awards. Well, it's all on the Aura website, and you can see that the Aura Awards tab is clearly labelled here on the bottom as a bit of an example. And thanks to Suzanne for updating that after a couple of bits of feedback on the wording. So it was called the Auras, and that's how we might often refer to the awards, as the Auras. So if you hear us talk about the Auras, that is what we're talking about, but we have given it its full title, the Aura Awards, to make sure that everybody knows. We're not quite as famous yet as the Oscars, so we're having to give it its full title for now. But as I say, all of the nominations and all of the information is on the Aura website. Hopefully you've all got access to that and are regular users of it. If not, I'll demonstrate it to you shortly. If we go on to the next slide, Tom. So we're going to go through the 4. I'm not going to talk at length on each one of these, so don't worry, but I think it's sensible to kind of talk through what is in each one. So Insight Impact is probably our biggest, most substantial award, and the one that has the largest reach, I suppose, really is the best way of looking at it. And that is all about it's open to any Aura member organization or individual who has delivered impact. Probably with this one, the slight difference in this is that the award is about when the impact has landed, not necessarily when the research was done. So largely the awards are about the year running from and to June. From the previous June. However, for this particular award, we're looking at when the insight has landed. So often research can be done a couple of years in advance, but it's then the impact is felt. So that's the bit that we're looking for in this. You're to be eligible for winning this award, your membership must be live, and you must be a member organisation at July 24, at the end of July 2024, to include the awards period. And as I said, this is an award for the successful impact of the research. And that is kind of it as far as the criteria. It has to be impactful, has to be key. And then the awards process for all of these award submissions is end of 15th of May is the final date for the submissions. So with this one, there are a couple of expectations for this and Innovation of the Year. So for Insight Impact, all submissions will be reviewed and the finalists will be notified on the 27th of May. And there's a requirement for Insight Impact to then deliver your submission at the presentation of the award. Sorry, the presentation of your submission at the award final presentation, which is the Insight Impact in-person seminar at the RAF Club in London, and that is on the 26th of June. The reason that it's essential that you deliver it in person is because that's when the award is judged, and it's judged by the members who are watching the presentation. So it's absolutely essential that anybody who's submitting can make that presentation, or you can have somebody present for you. As far as your submission itself and the nomination, we would expect that to be a maximum of 750 words, and we would recommend that it includes some supporting evidence from stakeholders who've benefited from the impact. So outside of the insight or the research function, ideally. It's not an absolute prerequisite, but the stronger submissions tend to have that included with them. And we're looking for bottom line improvements, engaging with difficult or hard to reach stakeholders, or changing the opinions of customers through effective use of the insight and the impact of that. So that's what the area that we're judging it on. And that's kind of, in summary, that's the Insight Impact Award. The other meaty award, and the slightly different to all of the others, is the Innovation of the Year Award. So again, this is open to Aura members, but it's also open to agencies who have delivered and got some innovative ideas and approaches to insights. And what we're looking for is for people to wow us with practical benefits of the innovation. And ultimately, it's how you've innovated and how you've delivered something new or something different for your organization. Now, the thing to note on Innovation of the Year is that this award is due to close on the 22nd of April, because the process starts much sooner for innovation. So we will be notifying finalists on the 7th of May, and then we'll be having a webinar on the 5th of June, where all of the finalists will present their webinar. It will be about a 15-minute presentation for each, with questions and answers afterwards. I should have said the Insight Impact is about a 20-minute presentation plus Q&A as well. Word count for Innovation of the Year is, there is no minimum, but don't waffle, get to the point and show us why it's innovative. We don't need to understand all of the nuts and bolts about how the process worked or how the new invention or the new idea worked. It's more about telling us why it's innovative and what it's delivered. And it's just a really good opportunity, this award, to share new or impressive methods of delivering insight. Then the other two, as you can see on the screen, are return on investment. So I'm not going to talk through these two separately. I'll talk them through as one. There's return on investment, which is budget of £15,000 or less, or return on investment with £15,000 or more. Well, more than £15,000. So the requirements are the same for both. It is just a matter of whether it's a large investment or a mid to small investment that we separate this out. And that's just to make sure that these big, large, kind of fundamental pieces of research or insight that we're all delivering are separated out from some of these smaller ones that often have huge impact across organizations. It needs to be a research project that's an initiative of a research team or an agency and demonstrates significant commercial return on the investment. So obviously, if you've spent 15 grand, it needs to return more than that in kind. It doesn't have to be about financial return. It can be about saving money. It can be about better use of funds, but it is about making sure that return on investment is very clear. On this award, both of these awards, there's no presentation required. And the reason that these awards came about is because we know that for the Insight Impact, there's some reluctance to share some of the financials. And therefore, we've created these return on investment awards where we are, as judges, we will accept reasonable return on investment claims. So if you're saying that NPS improved by X, or as customer satisfaction changed by this, or it led to an increase in number of customers by Y, we are understanding that not all the commercial can be shared, and we'll accept that. Again, we don't have a set word count. We're not looking for war and peace, but there does need to be enough for us to make a comprehensive decision against all the other nominations that we get. So a clear example of how the budget has been used and the significance of the return on investment in your organization. And again, this can be about a specific project and a specific deliverable, but it could also be about reusing insight or reusing research around the organization. It could be developing new products, new ways of working, or completely something else that you've come up with a way of recognizing that the insight impact of your budget has been something different, but that's how we would see these awards. Are there any questions on those awards before I move on to the next set? Good. If we move on to the agency awards then, please. So these are the three agency awards that are opened up to our full member base to judge and to judge and to vote on, so that we can select the entire membership have a say in who wins these awards. They are designed to be simple and easy to receive the nominations, and we are looking for agency nominations only. For trusted partner, we're looking for any agency, but they must be a member to nominate. So we are only looking for our members to give nominations for any of these awards. And this is a trusted partner. Might seem obvious, but it is an award for an agency that has gone beyond just having that functional relationship and becoming a trusted partner, somebody that you or your team can rely on, and an agency that starts to understand your business beyond just the functional spec of the piece of research, and how they've then gone on to support you in delivering that or beyond what the initial requirement was. We'll be looking for, again, none of these awards are supposed to be War and Peace, but we are looking for around about 200 words, so enough to provide us with enough information to make an informed decision and compare your nominations against others. We're looking for, to make these nominations work, we're looking for good understanding of an articulation of the attitude and the willingness to help of the agencies, and instances where the agency have gone above and beyond in demonstrating their capabilities. And it's just emphasizing how they've moved from agency to trusted partner. Small agency, the criteria for small agency is quite specific. So the agency themselves need to have fewer than 25 members of staff, or have a turnover of less than £1 million. Again, they must be member nominated. The agencies can't nominate themselves. We're looking here to demonstrate agencies that are consistently delivering high standards and probably greater than the sum of their size. So actually it's been a standout success from an organization that you might have envisaged not being able to deliver how effectively that they have, given their size, and probably looking for them to move to be your go-to small agency on a regular basis. Similar size of length for the submission, we're looking for about 200 words. But again, if you can make the case and make it strong enough in fewer than that, then that's absolutely fine. We're just looking for a reasonable amount of information that means we can make an informed decision and compare and contrast them against the other submissions before they go out to the members for vote on the finalists. Again, with this best small agency, it's why you think of them as being particularly good. This is the stuff that you should be including in the nominations. What is it about their skills, their attitude, their behavior, their aptitude that has taken them from being a good agency to a great agency, and how they've delivered for you and your organization? And then storytelling. All agencies, I'm sure we all see this all the time, all agencies need to be able to deliver a good business case or results or findings from the work that they've done. But some agencies over years have kind of honed this set of skills to be real industry experts. So what we're looking for is evidence that recognizes how they have done that, how they've made you or your internal audience sit up and take note of the content. What have they delivered in those presentations that adds a bit of flair, adds a bit of extra excitement to either the audience or the content, or have helped land the information that they're sharing and the insight that they're delivering in a way that is particularly useful and impactful. Same with this agency award. We're not looking for huge submissions, but it needs to be, again, it's worth bearing in mind in all of these instances that we need to have enough information that as a panel of judges, we can make an informed decision. So broadly speaking, about 200 words should be sufficient to do that, but we're not going to penalize someone for 100 brilliant words or 300 brilliant words. It's about just making sure there's enough there that we can understand and take forward. what's important in the nominations and what makes a great nomination for this section is to make sure that they're you're highlighting how they've delivered with Flair. So it's all great to just tell us that they have, but it's how they've gone about doing that is particularly useful, and where you can an example of how they've delivered it, so that we can compare this effectiveness against other submissions. Because what we don't want is just say, oh, they were great, they delivered really well, because we know you wouldn't be putting them forward for an award if they were just mediocre in the first place. I think I'm going to hand over to Suzanne to do the next couple of awards, which are the People Awards. Tom, if you could knock us on a slide, and Suzanne,
oh,
if
of
you
course,
don't mind,
yeah. Sorry, I was
yes. The next slide, please. Moment. Yeah. So the People Awards. These are my favourite awards, and I'll take you through what they are. So Client-Side Team of the Year is a great award to win. It's been won in the past by Coventry Building Society last year, NatWest, Whitbread, and John Lewis, and they've all come at it with a slightly different angle. To be Client-Side Team of the Year, you can either talk about some work that you've done that was amazing and how you gelled together as a team. It might be that you've restructured and created a new kind of culture within your own department, or even helped to change the culture within the organisation at all, overall. It might be that you've just delivered great stuff under brilliant circumstances, under really challenging circumstances. So there are lots of different ins on this one, or it could be a combination of all of those things. I think what we're looking for in terms of length, probably at least a A4 page to get the story across. And feel free to use attachments as examples to bring the story to life if you want to. But I think we're looking for people to tell their team's story, you know, the evolution of where you came from, how you got to where you are now, some of the ups and the downs and how you tackled them. And if you can get a stakeholder to say something really nice about you, as I'm sure it won't be a challenge for people that enter this award, that always adds a bit of sparkle. And also feel free to ask your agencies to endorse you as well. You know, they work with you all the time. They may well see how you've evolved and changed and improved and are delivering brilliant stuff. So that's Client-Side Team. And the only one other thing to say about Client-Side Team is if you're a team of one, you're still eligible to enter. In fact, we had an extraordinarily good entry that was shortlisted from a team of one. I know technically one person may not be a team in a definition, but they were certainly part of a wider organisational team and making enormous impact. So if you are on your own, don't feel that this is a category that you can't go in for. The next category is New Insight Talent, and this is always a way of celebrating younger, newer talent to client-side research. That said, there is no upper age limit on this. If you've started doing client-side research in your 50s and you've been at it for 3 or 4 years, you are still new insight talent in our world. I know that's probably a fairly small use case, but you know, it's about having had less than 5 years client-side experience. You may well have worked in an agency beforehand, but it's the client-side longevity that will make you eligible for this one. This has been won by some terrific people, and we always love reading these entries. So Jess Davis from Whitbread is the current holder, but Billy Budd from Coventry won it the year before, Emily Hake from Sky. So really amazing people. And what we're looking for is people who have demonstrated ability and impact beyond the number of years experience that they've got under their belt, really, but also have real potential to do brilliant things in our sector. We'd recommend for this one at least a couple of paragraphs. I think anything less than that just feels a little bit light and probably less significant. About a page if you can manage it. And again, endorsements from you as a line manager or you as a peer. This is not necessarily about managers nominating their team. It could be about peer-to-peer nomination. Stakeholder endorsements are great. Agency endorsements are equally great. And tell us their story, you know, again, how they got to where they are now, some of the challenges they've tackled and overcome, and use tangible examples of their progress and the impact that they've made. And then the other 2 People Awards they were designed very much to celebrate the often unsung heroes within teams and agencies, because in awards season, you often see the managing director of a agency coming to collect a gong, or, you know, the director of research coming to pick up that trophy. And most of the work that we do is done in teams, and everyone has a contribution to make. So these two awards are really about celebrating the people within your ecosystems that made an amazing contribution to the great output for your team. So we have one for client side and one for agency. They can be at any level within the organization. Again, this is another one where you can nominate up the organization. You could nominate your boss for this if you want to, or you could nominate someone that reports to you. Ditto for agency. You know, sometimes we get quite junior people being nominated for this because they're working hard in the background. But last year's winner was John Cohen, who's a quality researcher who largely works on his own with a kind of virtual team, and he got an amazing nomination, and he won that one last year. So it's all sorts of people could be eligible for this. But what we're looking for are people that go consistently above and beyond. You know, someone that's a really great team player, someone that you know will never let you down, or the team down. And it can be in relation to a particular project you've worked on, or equally, it could just be, they're just generally amazing. And I just want to give them a big shout out. So again, up to about 1 page of A4 would be good. More than a couple of paragraphs advisable. And again, like with the New Insight Talent and Client Side team, tangible examples of the things they've done and the effect they've had on you, the team, or a particular project.
Thanks, Suzanne. And then, so that is all of the awards by category that we're looking for nominations for. As some of you who've been to the awards events before and the awards nights before will know, there are some other categories about speakers and things like that, but they are all decided without nominations being required. So these are all of the these are all the awards that require your nominations should you wish to put them in. Tom, if you could just move us on one slide, because I'm going to open up for questions, which you can either, hopefully, you can speak by taking yourselves off mute, but you can also put them in the Q&A if you don't want to do that. And I'm just, before I allow people to dive in on me with questions, I'm just going to go through a couple of things that had already been raised in advance of this session. So some of the key stuff, which I think hopefully I've mentioned as we've gone through, or Suzanne's mentioned as we've gone through, but they are the nomination period closes on the 15th of May. So you'll note that that's the week after Quirks. So still plenty of time for you to be thinking about it when you come and see us at Quirks. And if you have more questions that you don't think of on today's call, happy to answer them at Quirks and at the stand. And we can, again, then go through all of this as well. Also, this session has been recorded, so we will be putting it on the Knowledge Hub for people to reference back to should they need to, or if anyone in your teams asks you questions that you can't quite remember the answer to, you can point them to that as well. The member voting will start on the 17th of June. So whether you've nominated somebody or you choose not to nominate somebody, keep your eyes out for that, because your opportunity to vote on those agency awards that we talked through earlier will start on the 17th of June-ish. And then we were asked a couple of questions about confidentiality, both for nominating yourselves and for nominating other people. So all of the nominations will be treated as confidential. There are judging panels for the judges. So all the judges are members of Aura and will see the submissions, but they won't be shared outside of that group. And obviously anything that you or your agency partners decide to share at the two awards that require presentations will obviously be shared with the people that are watching the presentations. And normally we would put presentations in the Knowledge Hub on the website. We can, by exception, not do that if you have something that you didn't want to include, or you mentioned something in your presentations that you didn't want us to include on the Knowledge Hub. We can remove them, or aspects of the presentation you can remove and submit a different version to go into the Knowledge Hub versus the one you present, if that's useful as well. And as I think we've reiterated throughout, we are not looking for war and peace in any of the submissions. We're just looking for enough information to make your point, whichever award it is, stand out and allow us to make a good comparison against the other submissions. So, oh, looks like there is a Q&A in the questions. So that is all the questions and updates I was going to do. You're open to, you can, I don't know who, somebody's put a question in about can you vote for your own nominated category? You can if your nomination makes it to the finalist, you can do that, but we do normalize the voting where there are large teams. So to make sure that that is a fair process.
So can I just jump in on that one too? I
Yes,
think the question might have been related to the client side team of the year. So just to clarify, the only ones that Aura membership gets invited to vote on are the agency awards. So client side team is only judged by the judges. So you don't get to vote on that one, if that's what the question was alluding to.
Yeah. Well, either way, both are right. So that is true. That is absolutely correct. And also, if one of the judges happens to work, we make sure that judges are not voting for their own organizations or playing any route to be able to influence the judging on those criteria. So yeah, it is all done with fairness in mind. You can submit, Helen, you can submit as many nominations as you would like. Just again, making sure that the right amount of information is attached to each. Yeah, and the same for your agencies and agency partners. If there's innovation, they've done 3 or 4 innovative things that they want to submit in, they can do that. But again, they need to have sufficient evidence that they are innovative. And as long as they can do that, and as long as you guys can do that as nominees, then that's absolutely fine. Yes, good question.
And there's a second part to that one as well, which is, could more than one entry be shortlisted? And of course, yes, it could be. It's all about merit. So they wouldn't be penalised because there's more than one entry. If it's good enough, it would make the shortlist.
Agreed. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. Missed that second bit.
That's okay. I couldn't sit quietly throughout the entire talk.
I had a question from someone actually this week about, it was actually from an agency saying, can we help our Aura members put in their submissions? Because, you know, sometimes particularly Insight Impact can be quite a time consuming process. So just to say to you, if it helps you to get your agency to help do the first draft, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't get judged differently because we know agencies are generally very good at awards entries. A lot of them have specialists doing it. So if that's helpful for people to call in the big guns to help put those 750 words together, that's absolutely fine.
As the other thing your agency partners might not know, if they are going to help you, is that there's no charge for entering the awards as well. So all the nominations that you submit are just part of being an Aura member, and therefore we want to hear about the good stuff. We're not going to charge you for telling us about it.
Okay, and Nick's asking a question.
Oh, yeah, go for it, Tom. Yeah.
Are members of well, Nick's company are members of Aura, but the agency you want to nominate aren't. Well, there are no agency members of Aura, Nick. It's entirely client side researchers who are involved in Aura. So yeah, naturally your agency isn't a member, they wouldn't be eligible. So it's not a problem.
Yeah. Mike, I guess it's absolutely fine. You can use the method of submission that is your preference. So if you want to put it in an Excel document, you can do if you like. As long as we get it and we can read it, we'll be happy. I probably should, just while we're answering the questions, is it worth me just pointing people, if I start sharing here we go, a bit of technical wizardry here. If I start sharing my screen just for a second or two, I'll just...
Oh, you want me to...
No, so I got it, Tom. It's fine.
You got it? You there? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So if hopefully my screen's come up now, and it's it is the beautiful Aura website. Is that right? Is that what everybody can see?
I'm seeing lots of different slides on the screen, but that might be me here.
Okay, I'm seeing the homepage. So
great, but perfect. That's good.
Yep.
So the homepage. So if you log in, I'm not going to tell you my password, so I've already logged in. But if you log into the Aura website and then go to the newly titled the Aura Awards. Thanks, Suzanne. And then I'm obviously not going to talk everybody through this now for the next 15 minutes, but all of the information in here is anything you want to know about the awards is pretty much on this page. You can ask us and you can feel free to contact us, but it tells you about the previous winners, tells you who this year's sponsors are. It's got previous winners of the client-side awards, information about the agencies is necessary, and then all the nominations pages as well, and the criteria. So, excuse me, as I said, you can see here that earlier on, right at the start, I mentioned that there was type form options to nominate agencies, so you can go into these for the agencies, the team or person, or the work awards. And as you go into these, you can see that then it gives you the option to select which award you're going to do, and then the next stage is to put the information in, and you can attach files as well if you want to in these in the type forms. If you don't want to use the type forms, there is opportunity to download the nomination forms for each of these that they send across to the email address that I mentioned at the start as well. So hopefully that's reasonably self-explanatory as far as filling in the award process itself. But again, if there are questions on that, we're open to those too. I'll stop sharing, Tom, and you can share the Q&A slide again if that's all right. Are there any other? Oh, there are some more questions coming in. Sorry.
Yes, there are indeed.
When will you find out? Well, so as I say, the shortlisting, the shortlisting starts. Well, I suppose the shortlisting officially starts at midnight on the 16th of May, because the submissions process ends on the 15th of May. We will then look to tell people over the coming 2 to 3 weeks, so that we can then open up the award voting on the agency awards as on the 17th of June. So in advance of the 17th of June, there are some specific dates. So we will let people know Insight Impact on by the 27th of May to allow about a month's prep time for pulling the presentation together. But even that will be embargoed until the 12th of June. So it's hard to give an exact date, but you will be informed before any voting starts, so you will know whether you've been successful or not.
Yeah, and you'll certainly hear about it before you see it on LinkedIn or anywhere publicly, because we will let you know. We'll send you a finalist logo that you can use after the embargo is lifted. The other thing that we'll do is when your submissions come in, we will acknowledge them just to reassure you that they've arrived. And we've managed to get some help on this. So the lovely Tara Mackay, who does a lot of work for the Research Club, is going to be helping me on managing all of that. So it might be a few days before you hear back, but you will definitely hear back from us to say, yes, we've got it. Thank you very much for sending it through. Whether you send it in as an email to the awards inbox or whether you do it through Typeform, we'll be keeping an eye on both of them. And it can be in any format you like. We're just very appreciative that people give up their time to enter these awards, and particularly the ones for the agencies, because obviously that's an act of kindness. You're not going to win an award if your agency does. It's just such a generous, good thing to do. So we are happy to take them in whatever format makes it easy for you to get your story across.
Thank you. And then Nick, yeah, PowerPoint is fine. If that makes it easier for you guys, then PowerPoint's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Charlotte, if shortlist for Impact, can the agency present? They can. We largely prefer it to be the clients, but we wouldn't knock it back, but it must be with, not instead of the clients. So that it's very much a client side award. So we would be looking for the client to be leading the presentation and certainly be more than just present. We would expect them to be very active in that presentation. Oh, go down a bit more. Sorry, they're coming in thick and fast. The criteria for that the awards are judged against is on the forms, Nick. So you will see that when you're making the submissions, the information is there. Yeah. Oh, Tom, can you press full speaker? Ruth said that everyone can see all the slides rather than just the question and answer slide.
Full screen. Okay.
Well, that was an easy one to answer, Ruth. Thanks. Any other questions? it doesn't have to be on this call. So if you do come up with a question afterwards, you think, oh, I wish I'd asked about X, Y, and Z, you can drop a line to any of the Aura directors or the Aura team, and we will get back to you when we can. But hopefully this has been helpful for people. Ultimately, I think the big takeaway messages are, we're not looking for war and peace. We're just looking for you to provide enough information that the reason for nomination is clear and starts to stand out, and use this opportunity as a great way to celebrate the success, because we do get some very, very impressive content, and often we then use some of the submissions for future opportunities as speakers. That's not a guarantee, but it does give us a great sight of what brilliant insight is going on. So you'll have heard from Holland and Barrett and BT this year. They were return on investment submissions that we just knew were fantastic. So I wanted to share that wider.
There's one question that we've
sorry.
missed. Ruth's asking that we read out the questions, which is a logical thing to do. Nick is asking if there is marking criteria that can be shared.
Yeah, so that was the question I was saying, and the answers to that are on the the submission forms. Yeah, so the information on how we judge the awards is included in those.
Although I think it's fair to say we don't have like a list of criteria and give people marks out of 10 on each one. I think we tend to read things in the round and sort of start with a, you know, fantastic, really good, middling kind of thing, and then all the judges come together and compare notes, see if there's any consensus, and if there isn't, we all go off again and do it again. So it's probably a slightly less formal process than perhaps something like Quirks, where they have very clear and specific scored ratings for different things that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's fair. And what's good about these awards is they're all judged by Aura members. All of the awards are judged by the members of the members. So yeah, which we're proud to stand behind, and is the purpose of these awards.
I think that's it. I think we've dealt with all of the questions.
Brilliant. Last chance. Well, it's not the last chance
Yep.
at all, but it's the last chance on this call.
The
And then
last chance
otherwise, we can feel free to just ask those questions as we go. And anybody who's coming to Kokoro next week, feel free to seek me out and ask questions at that, should you come up with any between now and then I'll be happy to answer them. Or if not, then please form an orderly queue at Quirks, and we can answer them all then, because we're looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible when we get to Quirks. Brilliant. Well, thank you all very much, and enjoy the rest of your Friday and the weekends when we get there.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for that.
Cheers.